Have you ever met someone who barely speaks, yet somehow everyone respects them? They don't raise their voice. They don't fight for attention. They don't try to prove how smart they are. But the moment they speak, the entire room becomes silent. Why? Because real power is rarely loud. In today's world, we're taught that confidence means talking more, being louder, being more visible. But history tells a completely different story. Some of the strongest leaders, the smartest strategists, and the most dangerous people were often the quietest. Their silence wasn't weakness, it was control. Most people think quiet people are shy, or insecure, or afraid. But that's one of the biggest mistakes you can make, because while everyone else is busy talking, quiet people are watching, listening, learning, and understanding everything around them. The less they reveal, the more unpredictable they become. And unpredictability is power. By the end of this video, you'll understand why quiet people often have the greatest influence, the strongest minds, and sometimes the most dangerous personalities in the room. Let's begin. Most people enter a room and immediately start talking. They tell stories, share opinions, try to impress others. Quiet people do something completely different. They watch. They notice who interrupts others, who lies, who seeks attention, who is nervous, who is confident. While everyone else is speaking, they're collecting information, every facial expression, every change in someone's voice, every movement, every small detail. Human behavior always leaves clues, and quiet people are experts at finding them. That's why they often understand people much faster than everyone else. Without asking many questions, they already know who they can trust, who is pretending, and who is hiding something. Knowledge is power, and observation creates knowledge. The person who speaks the least usually learns the most. That's why underestimating a quiet person can be a very expensive mistake. Think about it. How many people announce their goals before they achieve them? They tell everyone, "I'm going to start a business. I'm going to get rich. I'm going to change my life." Days pass, weeks pass, months pass. Nothing happens. Quiet people understand something different. They don't waste energy talking about success. They spend that energy working. They don't need applause before they win. They let their results speak for them. That's why quiet people often surprise everyone. One day, they seem completely ordinary. The next day, they've built something incredible. Because while everyone was talking, they were working in silence. There is an old saying, "Move in silence, let success make the noise." Quiet people live by this idea. They know that the fewer people who know your plans, the fewer opinions, the fewer distractions, and the fewer people trying to stop you. Sometimes, silence is the best protection for your dreams. Imagine two people facing the exact same situation. Someone insults them. The first person reacts immediately. He gets angry. He starts shouting. He loses control. Everyone can see exactly how he feels. Now look at the quiet person. He doesn't react right away. He stays calm. He watches. He thinks. Because he understands something most people never learn. The person who controls his emotions controls the situation. Quiet people know that anger clouds judgment. Fear creates bad decisions, and emotional reactions often reveal weaknesses. That's why they never rush to respond. Silence gives them time to think, time to understand, time to choose the best move. This doesn't mean they never feel angry. They do. They simply refuse to let emotions make decisions for them. And that's what makes them dangerous. Because while others are fighting with emotions, they're fighting with logic. Calm people are difficult to manipulate. They're difficult to provoke, and they're almost impossible to predict. Their greatest weapon is self-control. Think about the people you know. Who talks the most? Usually, they're also the people everyone ignores. When someone speaks every minute, their words lose value. People stop listening because nothing they say feels important anymore. Quiet people are different. They don't speak just to fill silence. They speak only when they have something worth saying. And because they speak less, people naturally pay more attention. Every sentence carries weight. Every opinion matters. Every word feels intentional. Silence creates curiosity. People begin wondering, what is he thinking? What will he say? And when he finally speaks, everyone listens. This isn't magic. It's psychology. Scarcity creates value. The less available something is, the more valuable it becomes. The same is true for words. Quiet people understand that powerful communication isn't about speaking more. It's about speaking better. Sometimes, one calm sentence can have more impact than 1,000 angry words. That's why the strongest leaders don't need to shout. Their confidence speaks before they do. And when they finally open their mouths, people pay attention. Because they know every word has a purpose. One of the biggest differences between quiet people and everyone else is time. Not because they have more of it, but because they use it differently. Most people react. Quiet people reflect. Before making a decision, they ask themselves questions. What could happen next? What am I missing? Is this really the best choice? That small pause changes everything, because most mistakes in life are not caused by a lack of intelligence. They're caused by acting too quickly. Think about the greatest chess players. They don't rush. They study every possible move. They predict what their opponent will do before making their own move. Quiet people often think the same way. They don't just see the present. They imagine the future. Every action has consequences. Every decision creates new opportunities or new problems. That's why quiet people often make better choices. Not because they're lucky, but because they think longer than everyone else. Patience is a hidden form of intelligence, and patience almost always beats impulsiveness. Remember this: a decision made in 5 seconds can create problems that last 5 years. But a decision made after careful thought can change your life forever. Silence is uncomfortable. Most people can't handle it. The moment a conversation becomes quiet, someone feels the need to speak, to explain, to fill the empty space. Quiet people understand this better than anyone. They know that silence creates pressure, and pressure makes people talk. Sometimes, the best way to learn about someone is not by asking more questions. It's by saying nothing at all. Watch what happens. People begin explaining themselves, sharing personal stories, revealing secrets, even admitting mistakes. Without realizing it, they tell you exactly who they are. This is why experienced negotiators, skilled interviewers, and successful leaders use silence as a tool. After asking an important question, they simply wait, and the silence does the work. The other person keeps talking, giving away more information than they ever intended. Quiet people don't interrupt. They don't rush. They listen, because listening gives you something talking never can: information. And information is power. Sometimes, the quietest person in the room knows the most, simply because everyone else couldn't stop talking. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that silence means weakness. They assume that if someone isn't speaking, they have nothing to say. If someone avoids attention, they lack confidence. If someone stays calm, they must be afraid. But reality is often the exact opposite. The strongest lion doesn't roar all day. It roars only when it needs to. The ocean is quiet on the surface, yet beneath it lies incredible power. The same is true for people. Confidence doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it sits quietly, watching, waiting, learning. Many of history's greatest thinkers, inventors, military leaders, and entrepreneurs were known for being quiet observers. They understood something most people never do. You don't need to prove your strength to everyone. Real confidence doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need constant validation. It doesn't need to win every argument, because it already knows its value. Quiet people understand that respect is earned through actions, not words. They let their work speak. They let their discipline speak. They let their results speak. And that's why people often underestimate them, until it's too late. Never judge someone's potential by the volume of their voice. Some of the most powerful minds are also the quietest. So, why are quiet people more dangerous than you think? Because they observe instead of talking. They think before acting. They control their emotions. They protect their plans. They choose their words carefully. They listen more than they speak. And they never feel the need to prove themselves. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, the person who truly listens already has an advantage. Remember, silence is not empty. It's full of intelligence. It's full of patience. It's full of self-control. And sometimes, the quietest person in the room is the strongest one. So here's a question for you. Do you think being quiet is a strength or a weakness? Write your answer in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more psychology and self-improvement content, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next video. Until next time, stay calm, stay focused, and remember, the loudest person in the room isn't always the strongest, but the quietest one just might be.